Okay, let's draw for today. This should be number 7 on Stuart Foley Dreadnaught project. I just bumped that right mouse button. Okay. There we go. Actually, I'm wanting 3. Okay. Edit mode. Go back into vertices. Come to the side. Stick that up there for now. I don't know why my body's not disappearing. Let's go back to edit mode or object. Interesting. I'm hitting my Z button, but I'm not getting my should be disappearing. Let's try this. Let's go out and go back in. Okay. There we go. I don't know what little hiccup it had going on. It just didn't want to go transparent for me. Okay, let's box this. Let's box these and these so that I have this outer edge. Let's go to 3. Okay, now if you can see, I'll put it on Z. We're actually looking at the back of the ship through the hangar bay. Let's scale. That right there. Let's go to the 1. Now I messed that up. Okay, Control Z. Let's go back to the 3. Let's extrude scale. Okay, let's go back to 1. That's a little better. Let's grab it on the X, and hopefully it'll, of course not, why would it? So we're gonna have to do a little fancy lining up work here. Let's grab it on the X. Let's bring these parallel. Let's see the Z and see what that looks like. Let's go into object mode. Yeah, that don't look too bad. It's kind of what I wanted. I wanted a lip here. 1. Z. Back into edit mode. Okay, now if we extrude this to the X, and then we're going to come down. Actually, we're going to bring that. The nice thing a little bit about this hole is it actually is flat, so we could actually go quite a ways in here with this inner thing. For now, what I want to do, okay, let's take this. Alrighty. Okay, that's the nitty gritty. Let's grab to the X. Let's bring this back till we're lined up right here. Let's go up. Okay. Let's hit deselect, which is A. Let's box this little baby in right here. Let's grab it on the X. Let's bring it in. And that's kind of funny because I had it lined up, and then when I scale it all the way in, it's actually on the other side. So let's grab X again. Let's bring it back. Snap it right there. Hit deselect. Okay, and I'm going to show you. Let's box this. Let's grab it to the X. Let's bring it in. Okay, let's come all the way now to the nitty-gritty here. Let's grab it, X, let's bring it back just a tad. Snap it there, let's deselect it. Okay, now what I want to do while we're doing this is we're also going to come over here and we're going to grab this one on the X and we're going to bring it in a little bit. Actually, we might leave that. We might leave that be. We might leave those just a. Control Z. We might leave those just a little bit out. And I'm going to put this marker up here into my face. We'll center it a little bit later again. It's not really a problem if it's not centered unless you're bringing objects in or you're scaling from. You want to scale in a sense from the center, then you need that thing centered. So, okay. But what we're going to do with these lines right here, especially this inner line, we're going to grab it, X, we're going to straighten it up. The other thing I almost could have done, actually, which might have been smarter, instead of doing this the way I'm doing it, instead of extruding it, I could have actually probably duplicated that inner hole and then just actually grabbed it down and then scaled it to the Y is probably what I could have done, and I probably could do this whole hanger deck and have the inner shell. So I'm going to try that. Let's see how that works. We're going to go File. We're going to open Recent. We're going to actually open this again where it was fresh. Okay. We're going to go to Edit Mode. And we're going to go to Vertices, and we're going to go Z. Okay, let's try what I was talking about. What I want to do is actually, I want to bring this down a little bit and over a little bit. Okay, we're going to box this. And I'm messing up because I don't have the front on. We're going to try this anyway. I think I can work around it. So we're going to grab that. We're going to come along here. We're going to box, and we're going to grab that. And what we're grabbing, actually, no, we're not grabbing. I'm way too low. So I need to, need to grab it from the next line up. I need to grab it right here. Okay. And if this works out, I might have to put in my front hanger bay doors first so that I can get, actually, I think that would work. But I think I'm going to have to do my front doors separate since there's two. So this should be fine. Let's get this right here. And then let's box this in right here and right here. Okay, right there. Now, if I hit Z, you notice that I basically have, I even have the floor selected too, which is going to give me an extra big face, but it won't be able to be seen anyway. It's going to be from underneath. I hit 3. Now what this should actually do, if I go Shift Duplicate on the Z, I actually bring this down. And I think I brought it a little too low. Let's raise it up a little bit. Grab to the Z, let's bring this up just a tad bit, like that. And then if I come down to the sides, what I want to do is I want to scale this to the Y. About like that. Okay, now what I actually did is I have this hole inside the hole, and I'm getting a lot of yellow dots there. Oh, it's just because of the way it's showing it. Okay, it's not a problem. Sometimes if you have the surface of one bumping the surface of the other, which shouldn't be happening at all here. Yeah, this whole thing should be totally just a tad thinner and stuff, so there shouldn't be any reason why you have any of these lines bumping each other. Okay, so let's hit A. And they should be separate. Now one thing we could do here, except for I think it would make a face, we're going to have to go transparent. And we're going to have to go to face mode. And we're going to have to figure out which one is our bottom floor, which that's not our bottom floor. Let's hit Z. Oh, it is our bottom floor. I did pick it somehow by accident. That's cool. So I want to delete that bottom floor. Delete. What's that face? Okay, now we're going to hit Z again. Okay, now I have this inner shell and outer shell here. Let's go to lines. Actually, I need to save this. This file, save as. This is a major thing, so let's save this as 7A. Back 7. Because now our model's starting to get a little bit complex here. Okay, and I'll show you what I'm doing here. I can go to line mode. I can click this line, shift this line, and I could basically go around this thing without a face, but I think when we start getting towards the bottom here, we're going to start having angles. So instead of having angles, what I want to do here is I want to actually work these around. Okay, face and face. A. And see, when we go to object mode, what we're going to have, and we might have to do some flattening and stuff, but we should have this nice, pretty thickness here. And we might have to tell it to be sharp or smooth or whatnot, because we're starting to get a little funky on the shadows here, so. Let's go back into edit. Let's click line, line, face. Okay, now we're starting to get, we want to make sure we're just grabbing this outside lip here, so I shifted our picture just a little bit so I'm not seeing the inside lips, because it could be quite a little bit confusing there. Like here, you might see that you're actually seeing the lip that's in the back line there, but it can look like it's right up front there, and then the problem with that is that you'd be connecting faces in kind of a funky manner. Okay. Okay, now this one here. Face, shift face, face, A. Now we'll go to edit mode. And like I said, we'll work with this. We'll make them to where they look pretty good. But and then also when you UV map stuff and you start putting textures on stuff, some of this stuff isn't an issue. It might look like an issue while you're modeling it, but watch this, we'll go to edit mode and we'll go to face mode. And we'll select this. We'll need to get our T. Let's select this. And let's go. Face is smooth. Okay, I think we had a couple that weren't. Let's get rid of this T. Let's deselect. Let's go back to vertice mode. Let's go back to object mode. And like I said, we'll play around with this and we'll get it shaded how we want it. finish this facing this in here. Let's go to edit mode. Let's save it right quick. Okay, now we're going to finish this lip. And we need to make sure we're back in line mode. Okay, and if you don't know, I'm left clicking because I have mine set up for left click select, not right click, which Blender normally comes in. So I selected the top line with the left click, and then I held shift, select the bottom one. I hit F for face, A to make it permanent. And I didn't want to do that. I hit the space bar, so I think I just left click and that goes away. Okay, Control. I hold Control and roll the mouse wheel. Shift and roll the mouse wheel down. Okay, and I can continue with the faces. Face. Roll this along. And one of the other reasons I'm doing this is to give this ship the appearance that it's a real ship in a sense. It's not just a paper thin bunch of faces, because the hull on this would have some spars and some thickness and stuff like that. It wouldn't just be paper thin with the window in it kind of a thing. I kind of always like it even on the diagrams, like the one I'm using for the hull. You would almost think that the hull's made out of super duper titanium or whatever Star Trek material, because it's just super thin, but it's strong. You know, it's like no, it would still be somewhat built like a ship. They just don't kind of reflect that when they're. They don't kind of reflect that when they're showing the series and stuff sometimes, or your diagrams in your books. Okay, almost down here, 3 more, and then I think we'll call this a short tutorial because we accomplished something. And like I said, the more I figure out how to do this simply, then it makes life a lot easier. Because sometimes I do things the hard way and the drawn out way, and then I'm sitting there thinking about it, or I watch a YouTube video and somebody says, "Oh, you just click these and move them, and you can do the whole thing instead of fighting one section at a time," kind of thing. Shift, put a face, and the last one. Shift, face, A. Okay, now let's go to object mode. And if you notice, there's some. Now, one thing I actually could do, in a sense, if I really wanted to, is I could have certain panels on here, like I could have smooth panels, and then I could leave flat panels on here too, which would kind of give it a, you know, as you can notice, this panel on the bottom's flat and the one behind it's flat. It kind of gives it almost like a plated look. But like I said, when we UV map this and texture this, all that stuff's more or less going to be gone. This is just kind of the way it's looking with. There's actually, like this thing here is an artificial lamp, this black dot, and this other thing up here is actually your camera if you want to render a shot of this, which I'm not really using because I'm just modeling it. But you actually use this camera, and you can see the camera view, and you can back this out and pan it and tilt it sideways and stuff, and then you can actually render. We could render a shot of this, and if we render a shot of this thing with this model just being a giant gray thing, it's just going to come out looking like a giant gray thing. Once we texture it, UV map it and stuff like that, then you could actually start getting a render that would look like a whatever kind of textures you put on and stuff. So we're going to select this and this and this. Hit our T. We want to smooth our faces. Hit our T again. Hit our A. I like to go back to vertice mode. Okay, let's go back to object. If you notice, that kind of smoothed it out a little. We still got a little bit of funky shading here. But like I said, I think it's because I'm going to have to determine whether I want to leave these lines smooth. Even these little faces here, if I leave them smooth or if I sharpen them up, it will determine kind of how that edge looks. So, or we might sharpen up. We might sharpen up the inner edge, leave the outer edge smooth. We might sharpen up the outer edge, leave the inner edge smooth. We'll just see how it looks. But again, we can see all the way through our hanger bay here, kind of a thing. But now it looks like instead of having a paper thin wall, we actually have a okay, and let's take this. Let's go to edit mode right quick. See, because I have this in here too, but I haven't, like I said, I haven't drawn on these front hanger bays yet. These front hanger bays are going to come down here. This front hanger base is going to be like this. It's going to be two separate hanger bay kind of things. With a closed off face, it looks like a little bit with them sticking out. So when I do that, then I can stitch that shell together where we have this whole entire outside edge. Or actually, the other option I have is I could actually stitch this together now and kind of like leave this lip on it and then draw my hanger bay. My hanger bays kind of from the inside, and it would give the ship a little bit of dimension here on the front here. So that's an option that I have that I could do. And seeing as how I have a double lip now, that's actually kind of a interesting thought that I could take this. Let's see, let's go Z. And I could actually take this outer edge and bring it back a little bit. The only problem with that is that's kind of not how they're showing the shape of the hull. But the problem is also, if you notice on this front view, and then you notice kind of on this side view thing, that when they had put these hanger bays in here, they just copied it from the side view of the ship and slapped them on here, and it almost doesn't match the front. So again, I'm going to have to figure out what I want to do and how I want to shape this kind of thing. But we have some options, which is cool. I like having some options. Let's take this back into object mode. Let's Z it so that it's gray. I'll leave the yellow. I like to leave the yellow outline around it. Take it to the 1. And what's kind of interesting too is I'm going to have to decide whether to make these hanger bays in front a little bit smaller, or actually smaller in the sense of the way they're drawn smaller and shorter, which part of the problem with that would be I matched the deflector dish on this Dreadnaught with the deflector dish on this Constitution class crosscut. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to flip this around, and it might slightly enlarge the hanger bays. But from the top, these hanger bays, actually, I almost have enough width with the front of this secondary hull to almost put 2 hanger bays in the back, or 2 hanger bays in the front. That's almost as big as this hanger bay in the back is. So that would make sense, and that would make sense in the sense that if you had the 2, if I actually enlarge these hanger bays a little bit in the front of this ship with the traffic they're wanting and stuff, that you can make it easier. Or the other thing, the way he tried to do this hull is like he has a whole inner passage on both sides of the ship. So if I was to do that, then I might actually I might actually, by the time I put my hangar bay doors in here, they might actually lose some width here. It might make it a little bit smaller, so that I could kind of like accommodate these side walkways. Because this is a nice big hangar bay, but you wouldn't necessarily need to have it really super big with the doors and stuff, unless you had a very large shuttle or something that was designed to come in here, where you needed the width and stuff. So I'll kind of play with that when I get to it. And again, I believe this is part 7 of the Stuart Foley Dreadnaught project. Thank you for following along and watching. And if you're watching on War Thunder, if you'd like, click on over YouTube and subscribe and like, and we'll keep going from there. Thank you very much.